Um, welcome everyone from the committee. And I know we do have one member here. She's blacked herself out, but a former committee member, so welcome. We do have two apologies from last year's committee, which is Sarah Park and Esther Diffie. And Craig will talk on that later. I would like to confirm the minutes of the 2019 AGM. So I'd like to move those minutes. Who would second?
Everyone.
Inga Pierce, thank you. Thank you. Moving swiftly through it so far, halfway through the agenda. The President's report, obviously we'll have a written report to accompany this, but I guess just wanted to quickly reflect on 2020 and think about what was achieved, even though it was a difficult, extremely difficult season where we didn't get to play football. But we started out with 31 teams, 481 boys and almost 200 girls. And I think if you add up all the volunteers, there was upwards of 150 volunteers, including, coaches, TMs, everyone involved. And obviously in the end, we added COVID reps to that. So we were all set for what was going to be a fantastic season, and for some of us, the first, as part of the committee. And although we had a couple of false starts and nearly got to the line, unfortunately, our friend COVID hit. And when it did, I guess it was, welcome Kirsten, welcome everyone. When it did, it was disappointing. But I think what we're here to do is to celebrate is that the club as a committee certainly galvanised, and we put into action fairly quickly a COVID committee, which met often weekly and in email most days, to navigate our way through what was very much unknown. We were kind of one of the first junior sporting clubs and organisations that had to deal with that. And I think there was a lot of guesswork going on, and we had to wade our way through that as a committee and as a subcommittee. And, I think the testament to that is that we got this club with all these people and cogs involved so close to starting a season. And we were literally 5 days away from practice games. But what I would say is it went far beyond just the people on this screen, and the members, the parents, the volunteers, the kids, the COVID reps, and everybody who helped us get there, along with the communication, which I'll thank Sarah for, put us in a really good position where we really felt confident that we could get the season up and going. That was taken away. But what does that tell us about us as a committee and a club? Well, it tells me a lot, and I'm very proud of the involvement I had in that, and being the president leader, I'm very fortunate to have everybody here along board, and very fortunate to have the community that we have, because we were so ready to play football, and I'm sure we could have got through and had a wonderful season no matter how long that was. So that really was the season that was. I can't talk about who won what and all those things, but now our attention does turn to our membership, our retention, and we have already done a couple of things along those lines, particularly with our under 8s and under 9s who didn't even get to put the boots on for their first game. Our summer training program, which Matt, I think, is now about averaging over 100 kids a week. And I've run into a few parents in the supermarket who are just so thrilled that the kids can get out there and have a go and have a kick just for fun. So that's put us in really good stead. So I think it's a big round of applause for everyone involved at the club, that we almost achieved what would have been a fantastic achievement to get to that, but I think we accomplished a lot. Couple of quick highlights I'd like to talk about. Obviously, we are undergoing our strategic plan, which is at the moment still ongoing. And really that's just a document that can confirm our purpose and our direction, our values, our mission, and obviously our long-term goals. So that is something that's very exciting ahead of us, and something that we hope to have locked in soon. So the clarity and direction of the club is absolutely clear. And obviously that is heavily directed around our football experience, our community involvement, and having great governance going forward. So whoever we pass this club onto, feels comfortable and clear when they walk into it, that they can take that mantle and carry on. So that's a very exciting next couple of months to get that all lined up and ready to go for next season. Infrastructure is a massive one. I think most of us who live in the area visited during COVID Yarra Bend many, many times and just saw the potential of Yarra Bend. So many people, families enjoying that and loving that space, which is wonderful. But obviously there are some challenges for us with that space, particularly around the condition of the rooms, the security, the safety, and the ability for us to have boys and girls competing at the same time. And we have made great strides. And I'd like to point out Brett, particularly on this one, because certainly he has pushed reasonably hard along the state government, federal government lines, and obviously with the recent council elections to make sure that we are putting our putting our fingerprints on what can be a fantastic area for our club to continue to use and grow into. So thank you, Crofty, and obviously everyone else who's involved. We have the Deep Rock Road Community Group, which encompasses ourselves, Edinburgh Cricket Club, and also the football club, and that's important to engage with our other sporting clubs, obviously in that pursuit, which will underpin our future and is really very important to our next steps. The other exciting one that we'll update everybody on right now is the BSO development, which Glenn has been all over. And again, Glenn updated me today. We are part of the Edinburgh Gardens sporting community, which again is including the tennis club, the football club, and the Edinburgh Cricket Club, a $10 million redevelopment. The council are now, I think, Glenn, are at the schematic design part. They've engaged an architect. We've had a meeting or two, and Glenn's been pushing those meetings and making sure we give them the stakeholder feedback that not only helps our club, but obviously all the stakeholders involved in what will be a wonderful and exciting development. Glenn showed us some proposed drawings, and it's pretty exciting what can potentially be up and running. I don't know, 12, 18 months, Glenn, maybe, which would be fantastic. So that is moving along, and Glenn will champion that for us as we go. Promise you I'm nearly done. The YJFL, our relationship with the YJFL is obviously extremely important, and in clubland, it's sometimes easy to look at the governing body and pick them apart a little bit. But look, I have certainly developed a really good relationship with Tim Murray, the CEO there, and they had a very tough job of trying to keep the season alive, and they did until the very last moment that they possibly could. But I think it's important that we continue to build our relationship with the YJFL. And I had recently had a contact with one of their board members, who is now our affiliate board member, our contact through that board, to create a greater communication between the club and the YJFL, which I think will only hold us in good stead. So they've got some challenges ahead, I think somewhat similar to ours in some ways. Obviously retention is one that they're concerned about, and something that we, as I mentioned, is forefront of our mind. The last thing I'd like to say before I hand it over is a couple of thank yous. And I know Esther's not here, and Esther was on the committee at the start of last year, and we thank her for her efforts. Obviously Sarah Park, who was unfortunately had to jump off the committee because of work commitments, but we dragged her back in. Crofty, thank you. She was instrumental in the communication to our members over that critical period where no one knew what was going on in a lot of ways, sometimes not even us. But I think my emails to her, which she somehow put together, and then that message went out to all our members. And I think from what I have, the feedback I've been given, that everyone understood where we're at and why we're at there, and it was very clear about our way forward. So thank you. And finally, Kirsten, where are you? There you are. I've already said thank you in front of the committee, but it's important to say we jumped on the committee at the same time. our experience has been pretty unique in a football, junior football club, let alone any sporting club for this year. Safety and wellbeing is a big enough portfolio, but not only that, our COVID rep officer and the job you did was uncharted territory. The workload and everything that we put on you, which you did all with a smile and with absolute professionalism. I just want to note and thank you very, very much. Sad that you won't be with us next year, but you will not be a stranger to us. And thank you so much, Kirsten, for your efforts. Everyone on the committee, I can go through you one by one. Everyone who's been part of subcommittees, you know, I am still very inexperienced as a president. I know football, but this is different, and the support you've all shown me this year has been outstanding. And I can tell you now, I'm so proud to be part of this club and look forward to next year and actually playing some football, which I know will happen. And it will be amazing to see those kids smiling, which they did even at training, the excitement they had. And we can't wait to be able to offer all these kids next year a great platform to jump back into footy and enjoy it for many more years to come. So thank you very much. That is my report. I will hand over now to the Treasurer for his financial report and statements. Thank you. Brett.
Thanks, Ben. Look, I'll take the financials as read, but just for the benefit of those on the call, provide some highlights. So one of the things that we decided as a committee in the COVID environment was that we shouldn't profit nor should we lose as a result of the impact of COVID. And one of the things which I think was shows how just amazing our club was the contribution made by our members and their support for our financial position. So at the end of the year, we ended up with a loss of $389, which was by design to break even, based on what we thought our costs were, which we incurred significant costs still, including insurance and other matters throughout the year, but also with the support of our members to be able to absorb a portion of the registration fees, and a number of those members also then donated the refund which they were entitled to, which was greatly appreciated. So from a results perspective, pretty much break even. From a financial statement position or financial position, we're in a very strong position. We've got cash of over $300,000, $336,506 to be precise. We've got good inventory on hand, which will turn to cash through the normal cycles, and our liabilities are pretty limited. So from a net asset point of view, around $385,000 worth of net assets, of which $336,000 is represented by cash. So we're in a very strong financial position, which is great, because what that allows us to do is consider how we want to invest that from a facilities or infrastructure point of view, and also allows us to make some decisions too around the future of the club and what we'd like to see. They're very thankful for that. Very thankful for our support for our sponsors. They stuck with us this year, which was fantastic. In fact, one was quite happy to pay their full sponsorship fee, which is greatly appreciated. We did defer that to get them on board for next year. But again, our sponsors, we've got a really great group of sponsors, which helps for a club like us in terms of paying for the football operations side of the business. So I don't propose to discuss the accounts in any more detail than that. Just to note, though, that the accounts have been through a process of review by the committee, and they were signed on the 9th of November by Ben and myself after the review and approval by the committee. That's all probably I've got to talk about that. Happy to answer any questions from those on the call, or certainly for anyone reviewing this after the fact, if they want to drop me an email at treasurer@fitzroy.com.au, I'll be happy to answer any questions that they may have.
Thanks, Crofty. Pretty outstanding considering the conditions we're in and what we were faced with, but thank you for all your efforts this year, as with everyone. Now, we will, unless there's any questions from anyone, we can move on. Craig, I will go over to you, Craig, our secretary, to hand it over, mate. Go for it.
Thanks, Ben.
Well, at the last AGM, the positions of the President, Vice President, Treasurer, Secretary and 8 committee members were elected, and they were elected for a 2-year term. So we're not required to have any additional elections this year. The only changes, though, are that we lost Esther and Sarah early on in the season, and unfortunately losing Kirsten. So those 3 people will go off the committee. The strategic plan, as I understand, is still being completed, and on completion of that, the committee has the ability under the Constitution to appoint anyone into any necessary vacancy on the committee. So there won't be a need for election if there's a need to appoint anyone into a vacant position. So that's all that needs to be said in respect of the elections. In terms of the Secretary's obligations, I can report they've all been met or will be met by the end of the year. So there's nothing further to report there. Otherwise, it's just a thank you from me for everybody on the committee and all the members and all of the great work that was done. Nothing more from me.
Thanks, Craig, and thanks for your support during the year, mate. Much appreciated. So that's the end of that. Was fast, wasn't it? 18 minutes. So that comes to the end of the agenda. Was there any general business, or did anyone like to add anything to what has been discussed tonight? While you have the room. No.
I'll just have a quick one.
Yes, Matt Drew.
Back to you, Ben, mate. I just wanted to say thank you to you in what has probably been the toughest year you could imagine for a first-year president. You've done an outstanding job, mate, and I hope you'll continue to do this role for a long, long time, mate. That's it.
Well, Matt,
you're breaking
as
up.
I said,
sorry, you're breaking up. I'll take that as a yes.
Well, no, I'd love to. But as I said, when I took the role, I only took it because you were going to help me as vice president. So thank you very much. And I think at times we spoke to each other 5 days a week. We had a little break. After the end of the season, but now we're ramping up again. So I could say great things about everyone, as you know, but I think we've just got a great, fabulous team and a great club. So thank you, everybody. We will now officially make, we'll be early for the YJFL AGM, Craig, so beautifully organised by us. Again, thanks, everybody. We do have we'll obviously have a committee meeting shortly, and we have our dinner next week. So everybody must be there. I don't want any excuses. So thanks, guys.
Just before we head off, because this is being recorded and going on the website, I just want to give a shout out to all the team managers and the volunteers through the year for actually putting their hand up. And even though we didn't get a season off and running, their dedication and commitment to actually getting the kids to some sort of get ready to go has been brilliant. And I just want to do a big shout out to all our volunteers and our team managers to say thanks so much and look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah, without them, Inga, we're nowhere. So absolutely, and with 150 odd people putting their hand up each year to help, it's fantastic that people get involved. And Louise, as always, you take on the cricket club, which I know has been crazy. we must be nicer to deal with in the cricket club. Just joking, of course. But thank you for your time and just your volunteering each year in and out. It's just fantastic. We appreciate everything you do and listening to us every few weeks. So thank you again, Louise, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. All good.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody. We will see you all next Wednesday for a celebration.
Cheers.
Well, everyone.